college bribery scandal hits Hollywood. Disney rehires James Gunn for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Judge Jeanine benched by Fox News. All this and more on Meet the Hollywood Press for March 17th, 2019. I'm Alina Vision, and now your host of Meet the Hollywood Press, Joseph Kapsch.
Happy Sunday Fun Day, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Leprechaun Day. I mean, those of you who are Irish or not Irish, Drinking Day. I'm assuming Aunt Becky and Lynette Scavo are probably putting a couple back.
Definitely.
For those of you who don't know, Felicity Huffman and Lori, say it.
Lachlan.
I thought it was Laughlin all this time.
Me too.
Anita, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
On this bittersweet Sunday.
I know it is.
I'm scared to say it because then it's real if I say it out loud. This is Alina Vision's last episode hosting.
Right.
You promise you'll come back and visit as a panelist.
Absolutely.
She is moving on to a new opportunity, which we will not discuss just yet. But it's fabulous, and we're so proud of you.
Oh, thank you very much.
But I really am. This is a tough one.
I'll be back though, for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Okay, so without any other sappy goodbyes, let me introduce our panel. Joining me at the Hollywood Press this Sunday is Anita Bennett, the founder and managing editor of Urban Hollywood 411.
That is right.
Yes, it is. Welcome back.
Thank you.
On Itai Hod, senior entertainment reporter at TheWrap.
Yep.
Welcome both. Okay, I want to tear in right away, so no more niceties. We just got to get to this. This college bribery scandal. Okay, whoa. So this week, the FBI, among 50 people that were arrested in what the FBI is calling the biggest, I guess, sting operation in history for college bribery. It's a racketeering conspiracy that included parents of applicants for the ACT and SAT administrators, a test proctor, coaches at universities including Yale, Stanford, Georgetown, University of Southern California, that were involved in being bribed, and basically these rich parents were paying people to take the tests for their children. Two of the people involved were Desperate Housewives actress and Emmy-winning actress Felicity Huffman, and also Lori I'm going to screw up her name every time. Lachlan. I thought it was Laughlin since I was a kid. Lori Lachlan, and her husband, the fashion designer Massimo Giannulli, who actually has a Target line. They're worth
He used to.
So, yeah. Did it just get pulled? Or
no,
just
he
no more?
sold the line.
Okay, he sold the line. Well, they're also accused of bribes up to $500,000 for getting Olivia Jade, their YouTube star daughter, and Isabella Rose, who are not returning, by the way. So I guess I just want to start out really quickly, because there's been a lot of development since the story first broke and the arrest happened, where Hallmark has dropped Lori. Fuller House on Netflix is not having her back. Felicity doesn't have, I think, a current project, but it'll remain to be seen what will happen.
She has a couple of projects, according to IMDb, that are coming up.
They're already, though, filmed. Yes,
they're post-production.
So I want to start off with this first question, basically. So immediately with the college bribery scandal, talk turned to, because all of basically the people involved that were arrested were white, the conversation immediately turned to white privilege. How much of the notion of this do you think you attribute or to the influence of the Hollywood lifestyle and just sort of this idea of people living in quote-unquote Hollywood bubble and feeling that in this case they're above the law?
Well, it wasn't just Hollywood types. Among the 33 parents who were accused, we had CEOs, we had a casino executive,
sports industry,
CEO,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's more of a rich thing than a Hollywood thing. But my question is, all of those people were very wealthy. They had the resources to pay for their kids to get special tutors, to take the after-school programs or whatever, hire people to prepare them for the SATs. I think it was a matter of these kids not wanting to put in the work like we did.
Well, the question that you just say that about the kids, they're saying that some of the kids were unaware. I don't know how much I feel that I can't buy into that notion that these kids were unaware that because
Did they think they were just guessing really well?
I know. Well, they just automatically get longer to take the test.
Yes, and also Lori's two daughters were admitted to USC for the crew team, having never played crew. So do you think that at any point in that application process?
So it's they were unaware that they were taking part or, entered the university, USC, through the crew team, I'm not buying that. And, Lori's daughter, Olivia Jade, has said she didn't want to go to college. And she has been, she's a YouTube star, a social media star. She's been all over social media. She's a freshman at USC.
Yes.
Saying, I didn't really want to go to college. My parents wanted me to. I'm going for the scene and blah, blah, blah.
Party scene
party scene.
And the game days.
But if her ultimate goal was to be an Instagram star or whatever, why even bother with college?
Right.
Could we just talk about that title too? Instagram, because people were, she forgot to turn the comments off. She had 2 YouTube channels, and I guess she had like a second YouTube channel and forgot to disable the comments. It was brutal in there.
Yeah.
But they were basically saying like social media influencer. I'm like so sick of that word too, because so this girl's a social media influencer because she happens to sit in her bedroom and talk about all the rich things, all the expensive gifts she got for. Think about society today. Like that's galling into itself. And then you're at a school that I believe, stand corrected, 17% acceptance rate at USC. So this is like a difficult school. It's like the American dream. I grew up middle class. I don't know about you guys. I grew up middle class, and it's like you were told, study hard, work hard, and you're going to have a shot. Did this not blow that up in smoke for everybody, or what?
I think a lot of these kids have been entitled most of their lives and haven't really had to work hard. I mean, I grew up very poor, I'll admit it.
Yeah.
And I had to work extremely hard to achieve everything I've done.
Yeah.
I think these kids, things were handed to them, and so they've never really had to struggle, to work hard. I mean, Olivia Jade, she already had she's 19, had multiple brand endorsements with top companies. So she was destined to be even richer than she already
Who,
was.
by the way, also was dropped. Sephora dropped her in the wake of this scandal, and there was somebody, another makeup company. Hold on, I have it here. Fashion designer, Tresemme.
Yeah.
Tresemme. And these brand endorsement deals, she had been doing YouTube. I think she had something like 2 million subscribers, something really impressive. And she was doing this since age 14. She also was on a radio show. Like, now they're digging into everything. And she went on to say about Massimo Giannulli, who is, worth all money from the fish line, that I don't know if I could say this, but he kind of like faked his way through school. Yeah. He took the money for college and he used it to start his line, which, by the way, a self-made millionaire is impressive to me, whether maybe I'm of one mindset, whether it's college or not.
His dad was wealthy.
His dad was wealthy.
His dad gave him the money.
Yeah. So, Itai, I guess my other question that I want to ask about this. So, do you think their careers can recover?
I think in the short term, they're already taking a big hit. I mean, I did a story right after this story sort of broke. I interviewed some of Hollywood's top crisis managers to ask them what happens.
Yes.
To Felicity Huffman and Lori.
Yes.
Right? Is anyone going to pay?
Was Howard Bragman one of them?
Howard Bragman was one of them.
He was, because we worked at TheWrap together. He was like a regular in your story. Okay, yeah.
And, because I was curious to know, is anyone going to pay money to see a movie starring Felicity Huffman right now? Nobody likes a cheater. And so how does this affect their careers? And basically all of them said they could recover because anyone can recover, but they're going to have to play it really carefully for the next few weeks. It depends on how they play this out, how sincere their apology is. And I think the most sort of common response was, shut the F up and disappear really quickly for a really long time.
That's good advice.
Can I just mention, this is not going away. There's a story on urbanhollywood411.com. I don't know if they can put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
But prominent African Americans are up in arms, including Dr. Ben Chavis. He's a longtime civil rights activist.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I wasn't aware of this. There are parents who cheated to get their kids into better public schools, who lied about the district they lived in.
Yeah.
Inner city parents. These parents went to jail. And so they were convicted. And so a lot of people are demanding that these wealthy folks be convicted as well. And they're also asking that the Supreme Court take another look at, clampdowns on affirmative action.
Yes.
And so the thing about affirmative action, whether you believe in it or not, a lot of kids who grew up
in
very poor areas, the schools are not as good. There are more kids in the classroom. The kids, they face dangers walking to school, going through gang territory and whatnot. The playing field is not level. And so one thing that affirmative action did was leveled the playing field.
And the interesting thing is that it's predominantly white Republicans who are beating the drum most of the time to undo affirmative action, as if like I think there's just a lack of understanding if you grew up white and you grew up with a semi-privileged lifestyle, how difficult it really is. No one should be held accountable for how they're born into this world, right? So everyone deserves the right opportunities. And if we have to use affirmative action to level those scales, then so be it.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And another thing, too, these activists said, with a lot of African-American kids who go to predominantly white schools, the second you walk through the doors, kids are like, well, what entitlement did you have to get there?
Yeah.
And I went to a Jesuit university for 1 year. I faced that same thing. I was a very chubby kid, and the white kids would say, oh, what sport do you play? Because every black person there plays sports. I'm like, I'm fat. But then I transferred to a historically black college. So,
yeah. So here's my other thing about the crisis management. William H. Macy, who is married to Felicity Huffman, also showed up at the courthouse. So what it was saying in records was that they had taped conversations of her, and he was on the phone, but was not charged in the scandal. What did you learn about that? Did you learn about anything about that?
I think it's hard to say. I think part of the reason why he wasn't named was because there just wasn't enough evidence to suggest that he was directly implicated. Probably because Felicity Huffman did most of the conversations with the people that she dealt with.
Yes.
But a lot of people are asking whether or not it's possible that she did all this behind her own husband's back.
Not if you're as strong as their marriage it appears on red carpet, because they actually are a very likable couple. And like Felicity Huffman, were you at TheWrap when we did shoots with her when she was on American Crime? Couldn't be more delightful. Polite, down to earth, was just a joy to be around during the shoots. It was shocking to see just that. They would go to these lengths. Okay, so were all of you three, were you shocked about it? Because I felt almost ignorant then after, because when I was so shocked about the entire scandal, what I was reading mostly on social was that this has been happening for years. Like this was not shocking to people that, but it would come in a form of donating a building or donating or doing. But
I think that's what the shocking part of it was. Why didn't they just? That's what a lot of people, at least, the first reaction was. Why didn't you just donate $500,000 to the university? You would have gotten them in anyway.
But I guess nowadays it's not a guarantee anymore that if you donate that money that your kid's automatically going to get in. So this is like the next level of making sure.
And you have to donate a lot of money.
Like, didn't Jared Kushner
donate?
His father donated
like
$2.5 million.
Over $2 million
For Harvard,
The thing is with the donations, that's legal. And other kids benefit from those donations as well. If your parents buy a new library, well, everyone pretty much benefits from that. This was illegal. Right. And what the feds got a lot of them on was mail fraud, sending, the fraudulent payments through the mail.
Yeah.
And also lying on their taxes. So they were working with this company called Edge College and Career Network based in Newport Beach.
The singer guy, right?
Yeah, the singer guy. That's his company.
Rick Singer,
Rick Singer.
Rick Singer.
He's the one that pled guilty. So it sounded like he basically, when he got caught, cooperated, right, to help catch all these other people.
Yeah, he agreed to a wiretap.
Yeah.
And so he basically dropped a dime on all these people.
Not just the parents, but also the coaches. I mean, everyone he dealt with.
I mean, money, it's astounding to me because you want to have like this shred of sort of belief that there's still not everything's not so cynical. What doesn't money buy you? Because it bought OJ freedom with the best legal team. You can get yourself out of murder with money.
The presidency.
You can get yourself
exactly.
There you go. You said it. I'm glad you said it. And you can basically get your kids into college that don't even want to be there and don't deserve to be there.
But was it worth it? So. This singer told all the parents, well, I have a nonprofit and it's tax deductible, and that's what the feds got them on. So with Felicity Huffman, she allegedly paid $15,000. With her bank accounts, was it real? $15,000 to her is probably nothing.
Nothing.
Was it worth potentially going to prison?
Well, that's the interesting thing. I mean,
she'll spend that much just on the lawyer fees for the first month.
I just wonder, because it was such they called it, by the way, Operation Varsity Blues was what the FBI was calling it. I wonder if because it was so widespread and they seemed pretty adamant about wanting to nail this, if they're going to give some of them jail time, because to make I feel like, is this going to be an example kind of case?
I spoke to one of the people that I spoke to in that article was a crisis manager who's actually a lawyer. And one of the things that he said was he didn't think that was going to be the case because it's a first offense. These people are, pillars of the community. They've done a lot of service for the community service, stuff like that.
Yeah.
In these cases, usually what you get is a lot of community service, obviously, and a fine. But
doesn't that go against like the whole premise of the cheating?
That's what I mean.
It's like you're just gonna get a slap on the wrist. That just goes to show how privileged you are.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if it's a slap on the wrist, though.
I'm gonna buy what is being said, because this is not a state case or a county case. This is a federal case, and there were a lot of FBI agents involved in this. A lot of federal resources went into it. So I think they might, Felicity Huffman, 15,000 is not that much.
That's
Lori Loughlin, 500,000
in bribe.
I think it's going to take a really
but
good legal team.
500,000 is nothing. What she lost on those deals with Netflix and Hallmark, and what he's going to lose, and what Felicity Huffman's going to lose.
They put their house
if they
up
tried
for,
to cheat the
collateral.
government out of $500,000, in taxed funds and whatnot, that's
right,
quite
because
a bit.
all of that was deductible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you think about Real Housewives, Teresa Giudice and her husband Joe. That was mail fraud case, and I think it was far less when you think about it, because they weren't they were doing crooked stuff about their own money and finances with flipping homes, but it's this seems worse, because it's this is cheating other kids out of opportunities, and I think that's why America is so
There's
up in
already,
arms
by
about
the way,
it.
a lawsuit by one of the mothers.
500
billion. It's a class action suit. But still, I mean, they're facing not just criminal charges here. They could ostensibly face these civil charges that could amount to a lot of money. If they might go bankrupt over this.
Yeah, and we should also know Abby Lee Miller, Dance Moms host, she went to federal prison.
That's right.
So,
and what was that for again? I forgot.
Similar, mail fraud, cheating on taxes. She didn't report a lot of the income from her reality series. So
I just don't get it. You get people are there's such a small percentage that get to work in Hollywood and do these kind of things, and then when you get there, why do you abuse it?
I don't know.
It just doesn't make sense.
I think the part that's really going to be hard for them to sort of, get out of this is going to be the part of the cheating. Nobody likes a cheater. And a cheater. Yeah. One of the PR people was like, a cheater's a cheater. Can't get out of it.
They don't like cheating in this case. They don't like cheating in a marriage. They don't like. I mean, you think about that. Think about Jen, Brad, and Angelina. It was the world was. Oprah put Jennifer on her couch because she was the one that was wronged. There was alleged cheating. You're right. America don't like a cheater.
No, and especially a lot of people in America obviously have gone to college and gotten there the right way through hard work and dedication. I was at Costco on Thursday, and the cashier and the guy who was bagging my groceries were talking about it. She was just so irate because her daughter had tried to get into USC, and she's she had a 4.2, this, that, and the other. She was working 2 jobs just to pay. Yeah. And it's just she's it's not fair.
No.
So, I mean, this is hitting all levels. Everyone's really mad about it.
And everyone can relate to that.
Exactly.
Because anyone who's ever applied to college knows how hard it is and how hard they've had to work to get to where they were, to think that somebody else just paid their way through.
Well, I also think all the kids that were part of this should be taken out of these schools. I think some of them are. The two, Lori's 2 daughters are not returning.
I mean,
and by the way, she was on a yacht. She was on a yacht with the admissions executive of USC.
No, it couldn't have been more.
It was just like a cherry on top of the shit sundae. But
Seriously.
it was oh my god.
When I read that, I was like, for real? For real.
It got worse and worse. And when I started going down the rabbit hole on her YouTube videos, I was just I don't know at what point, and I mean, parents love their children no matter what, but at what point did Lori and her husband not look at their kid and go, are we really raising a child that values anything but things that
I think
it was crazy.
Children are just
products of the parents.
Yeah.
But also, why would you want something that you didn't earn? That's my question. And what kind of child are you raising?
She wanted game days and parties.
Listen, I know, but a lot of people want stuff they didn't earn, which is why you have to lock your doors. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to end on this before we move on to the next story, quickly, each of you, what development or revelations in the case struck you the most? When you were
I think the cheating on the exams, I just was under the assumption that if you take an SAT or ACT, there were all these mechanisms in place to prevent cheating.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is you can pay someone to pay the administrator.
That's given the test, basically. Yeah, because they basically then, you do it in pencil, right? If I remember. It's been so long since I took them.
Yeah.
But you do, so they basically took it and then just corrected what they needed to
and
correct.
some of them claimed that they had a disability, that way they'd get longer on the test.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
But there was, for more money, there was also a guy who would go and take the test for you. They had 2 locations set up where they had the paid folks. So one was in West Hollywood and one was in Texas. So if you didn't want to take the test at all, they could just send the little guy to take it for you.
What do you think? What struck you
To
most?
me, it was the fact that they didn't tell some of the children if it's true.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so not only you're cheating, but you're making sure they don't know about it because, God forbid, their poor little egos might be affected by it, and they would actually believe that they got in there by their hard work of not working hard.
How about you?
I mean, for me, it was the fact that people were paying up to what? I think one person paid $6 million.
Yes.
Like, that is ridiculous.
Start a business.
Exactly.
I know. Why would you even need to go to school?
There are
Start
tutors.
a business.
There are some. I mean,
Buy a building and get the rent.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember a story, though, by the way, like insulting as many people as they managed to insult, because then you were like mentally ill, diverse, like minorities who can't get into school and don't have, like, it just like they hit everybody.
Everyone.
Bang, 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 bang.
Everyone's
it was a drive-by through America.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, moving on. We'll be talking about this for time to come. So let's move on to James Gunn. So Disney this week, in a rather surprising move, rehired James Gunn to write and direct the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, he was dismissed, I guess, was it almost going a year, 6 months to 8 months ago?
8 months.
Yeah.
During the height of MeToo, when a lot of like old tweets were being dug out from celebrities and directors and Hollywood figures, they dug out some really hideous tweets when he was, I guess, about like 40 years old at the time when he wrote the tweets or something like that.
He was younger.
Younger than that. He's 4. I'm sorry. I think now he is.
Yeah, he
40.
was in
I'm
his
sorry.
20s.
So he was.
I think
He wasn't
really...
so. No, he definitely wasn't, because that's
was-
why I was so offended.
It was 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and it was jokes about pedophilia, jokes about like rape jokes, just really lewd, tasteless jokes. And Disney cut him loose, and they made an about face. So I start with this: what do you think prompted Disney's about face, and do you agree with the decision?
Greenbacks, dollars, cash, dollars and cents.
The Benjamins.
I mean, yeah, so he wrote and directed the first 2 Guardians films, and combined they've made $1.6 billion worldwide. This franchise is a cash cow for Disney.
Yeah.
And, there are reports out there that even though they fired him, they never looked for another director to replace him.
Yeah.
So my question is, why even fire him?
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I think about this. First of all, some people make a distinction between, because what happened with, say, Roseanne Barr and what happened with James Gunn, which was tweets from 10 years ago when Twitter was just beginning, when people didn't really realize what Twitter was about. So, like, you have to put it in the context of 10 years ago when you had like 14 followers and you were talking to your friends, versus today when it's considered like almost like a broadcast platform.
Yes.
So that needs to be taken into consideration too. Roseanne Barr was saying those things not 10 years ago. She was saying them today while her show was on the air, not like when she was younger before she made it. There's a difference there. And also, I think it's also the way he reacted, right? His apology was sincere, immediate. He took down all those tweets. There was no, like with Roseanne, it was just like Ambien. It was, she didn't know she was white. I mean, there was every excuse under the sun except for, I'm really, really sorry for what I did, right? So I think there needs to be distinction. Also, to remember the person who pulled out those tweets was a conspiracy theorist named Mike Cernovich, who, there was a very clear political agenda there, going after a liberal Hollywood person. This is not the same thing. But yes, if you read those tweets, you kind of raise an eyebrow, like, why the hell would anyone tweet that? But I think you have to sort of, the way he explained it, and I don't know if you buy it or not, but the way he explained it was, He was just being over the top. He was joking. He was not being serious. And I think all those things need to be taken into consideration.
Did anyone in this room ever joke about any of those topics in their whole history of their life?
I don't want to cut him any slack.
I'm not cutting him slack.
He was a grown man. It is never okay on a public platform, no less, to joke about, oh, I like it when little boys play with my happy place.
Yeah.
Or the best part about being raped is when it's over.
Yeah.
Why? What type of person would joke about that?
You're talking about, and that's why I wanted to be clear about he was not that young. I mean, I can almost get past the fact of like Justin Bieber is pissing in a bucket when he's 15 years old. Okay, you can get we can get past that. Well, when I think about when we were kids, I feel like when you cross into adulthood, and I would consider adulthood anywhere from like 25 up in my mind. You're still going through it in your young 20s, right? That would be never a subject that anyone would joke about. It's just, I have tremendous respect for Disney. I actually do, and I have many friends that work over there, and I was kind of shocked by the decision. I personally, from what I'm digging on, hear that it was cast pressure internally. It was also the idea that the Me Too movement was at the height of what it was so sensitive at the time that it got dug up, that everybody felt they had to pull the trigger on anyone who even remotely reflected bad on the company. But I think that, do you think, this is my next question, do you think this is a significant hit in the larger movement of Time's Up and Me Too? Because within this week with James Gunn, we also read that Neil deGrasse Tyson was cleared of his charges at like Nat Geo. I feel, and I don't know if this is a trend starting, but like, are we at this point now where we're softening on Me Too and what the consequences are?
I think you have to make a distinction between tweets and actions, right?
Yeah.
These tweets are just tweets. No one ever is claiming that James Gunn ever touched a boy. This is just, he's not a pedophile. He has never had relationships with a little boy. There's no action here. There's literally just tweets from 10 years ago. And then these other cases where, so I don't think there is a connection here, and I don't think I think anyone who thinks that the Me Too movement is is losing any of its steam is sadly mistaken.
But I keep reading. I've also read an article, just to digress for a second. There was an actress on Deadline that was saying how she was a commercial actress getting up to like 10. Do you remember her name?
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but she said that she came public to complain about James Toback. I'm not sure. Toback, the director.
Yeah.
And she said in an article published on Deadline, I think Friday or Saturday, that she has not worked since she went public.
Yeah.
I did a whole expose on. I basically did it took us months. We spoke to a dozen accusers, prominent and some lesser prominent women who came forward, women and men, who came forward and to look at what happened to them in the year since they came forward. So it was for the first year anniversary of Me Too, and some of them got fired, some of them couldn't, were thinking of changing their names because of their Google search. I mean, one of them told me, I'm a teacher. Every time anyone Googles me now, it's all about sexual assault. Yeah. That's not how I want to present myself to the world. Right. So it's been a rough year for a lot of the accusers.
So do you think the original decision for Disney to fire him so swiftly was because of the heightened culture we were living in, rather than that, like, on an executive level, that they wanted to get rid of him?
It really does seem that way, that they bowed to the pressure. I mean, Disney is a family-friendly company.
Right.
Yeah.
They make family-friendly content. So, whatever issues I have with James Gunn and what he wrote, it did seem like they rushed to a decision.
And I think a lot of people at the time when he was fired felt that this was different, and that the firing was not, it wasn't proportional to the offense.
It didn't fit what happened. Yeah.
We actually have, I think.
Yes, we have the tweet that James Gunn put out. So he says, I am tremendously grateful to every person out there who has supported me over the past few months. I'm always learning and will continue to work at being the best human being I can be. I deeply appreciate Disney's decision, and I am excited to continue making films that investigate the ties of love that bind us all. I have been and continue to be incredibly humbled by your love and support. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Love to you all.
I do feel sincerity in his apology.
Yeah.
Like I do feel that. I think that I have a real problem getting past the kind of, like, for me, I always look at him now as the guy that made jokes about pedophilia and rape. Like, it's never going to not be something that I think of.
I think we got to, and again, I don't want to make any excuses, and I don't want to, but I think we also have to remember that we now are living in a world where, we've all said something, written something on Twitter, on social media that we regretted and took down.
Sure.
And which is one of the reasons why today you won't see anything on my Twitter other than my stories.
Yeah.
That's it. An expert, a social media expert told me once, and I take this to heart every single time I think about tweeting something. Most of the time, 95% of the time that you tweet, no one will see it. The only time anyone will hear what you have to say on Twitter is you've made a really bad mistake.
Exactly. So true.
And so to this day, what? You want to see my stories? Here they are. That's all you get.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there was a time that social media, harkening back to 10 years ago, where journalists weren't allowed to have the freedom that they have now. I think we've definitely evolved in that case.
I think it depends on who you work for, because I'm like Itai. I pretty much tweet stories, no opinion.
Yeah.
My last 2 staff jobs, they did deep dives of my social accounts, and my employment was contingent upon drug tests and social media exams.
Wow.
Because they said you're representing the company. So, for all the young people out there who are constantly putting wild things on social media, just keep that in mind.
All right, so we'll move on to the next. I think I'm more. I feel happy for the fans of the series. It's a very popular series. I think that it's a win for fans, because at the end of the day, they want to see a quality movie that is made by the same creator, and so, I guess God bless them. Okay, so.
I like that transition.
I don't know where to
bless them.
I don't know where to go. Bless their heart. Bless their heart. All right, let's move on to another hot mess. Fox News benched Judge Jeanine Pirro. I just like saying that. See what we did there? Her show did not air on Saturday night, but it was later learned, CNN reported this morning. So her show just did not air, and then everyone was reporting, it's preempted, and it's coming on the heels of her comments last week about
Ilhan Omar.
Thank you. Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman, I want to read the quote so we definitely know what she said. So what she said in response to Omar's perceived anti-Semitic comments, think about it. Omar wears a, how do you say that?
Hijab.
Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical. Oh my God, to the United States Constitution. So it blew up. So what we learned today from CNN, she was suspended, but no one knows for how long.
Well, that's because Fox News isn't talking, which to me kind of defeats the purpose of suspending someone, right? It's like punishing someone but not telling anyone else. If you're gonna suspend someone, obviously people are gonna notice she's not on right after these comments were made. Why go through this rigmarole unless you're going to actually do this publicly?
Did they want the attention? Because I think that Fox News, because we've had to deal with, and you still have to deal with their PR department. They're clever in their PR strategies. Like, did they not want to say anything? So everyone was like, "Why isn't she on?" And it caused a big hubbub. Because I don't get it. Why wouldn't you just say, after she made the comments, we don't stand by them and we're suspending her? Yeah. Why wouldn't you just do that?
I mean, the whole thing, to accuse someone of following Sharia law, that's pretty offensive.
Yes.
That's like Taliban,
But we have to take it into context, right? She was responding.
By the way, for the audience,
I'm Jewish.
Yes.
Born and raised in Israel. She was talking specifically about what Ilhan Omar said. And again, I'm not by any means excusing what Jeanine Pirro has said either. Yeah. But she was talking about the fact that Ilhan Omar had said something earlier about how Jewish people...
Well, I want to ask you about that. As a Jewish person, did you feel that her comments were anti-Semitic?
I felt that her comments... there are historically are anti-Semitic tropes that we have heard from centuries, not even decades. Yes. This is what usually that's how you attack Jews. Jews have an allegiance to Israel, so you cannot trust them. They're really spies. Then you go back to, this has been going on for decades, if not centuries, and many Jewish people have suffered because of these anti-Semitic tropes.
Yes.
So they have actual real consequences of people dying because of these types of sayings. So it absolutely hit a nerve for a lot of Jewish people, whether you like Ilhan Omar or not. Ilhan Omar has apologized for some of those comments, saying that she needed to be educated. I am giving her the benefit of the doubt and saying, yes, you do need to be educated.
Yes.
I would get on it.
quickly. Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think, because Fox News has a lot of swirling controversies, multiple right now. They've got Tucker Carlson with the dug up tape. So do you think Fox News' decision had more to do with multiple controversies with advertisers pulling out? Or do you take their statement condemning her remarks at face value?
I don't know why Fox News decided at this stage of the game to issue that statement, because I can tell you this. I looked at some of the comments that Tucker Carlson has made in those interviews. And again, you have to take that into context too. It was made during a radio interview with a shock jock where it's like talking to Howard Stern. You kind of have to be funny and over the top. And so you have to put it in that context. But at the same time, he has said some offensive stuff, and they are not at any moment thinking of not backing him. In fact, they have said that they've backed him the entire time.
So actually, to your question, why I think that they suspended her was that this tweet actually from one of the producers of Brett Baer's show.
Who actually is one of their solid journalists.
Exactly.
He's more down the middle in his.
So this actually kind of went viral. So she says, it's from Hafsa Kamal, I believe her name is. Judge Jeanine, can you stop spreading this false narrative that somehow Muslims hate America or women who wear a hijab aren't American enough? You have Muslims working at the same network you do, including myself. Kate, thanks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
and that one
she went
drew
right at her.
a lot of criticism. Yeah, I mean, and she's right, although I have to question why anyone who's Muslim would work at Fox News. I mean, sorry, but it's true.
There's a lot of people that I'm like, really?
Really? Of all the and you're complaining about something that they said on the air?
Oh my God. That is like walking into a hostile work environment every single day just from having to watch the content.
Yeah,
it's true.
Although I should say she's absolutely right about what she said. That should not have been said, and it was completely insensitive.
It's not even
I'm
just
with her all the way. I'm just
the outwardly offensive stuff that is said is one thing, but then it's like the underlying. Like, did they just confused Robin Roberts and Gayle King?
Yeah, Gayle King.
I mean, how many times is this going to happen?
Aretha Franklin.
It's the underlying institutional sort of like.
I want to tell you a story about the Aretha Franklin thing.
Yes, please.
I remember that story because just for the viewers at home, what happened was Aretha Franklin. It was she had passed away, and in their obit, in their sort of package, a taped piece that they did. I think one of the graphics, instead of having Aretha, they had Patti LaBelle.
Because they all look alike, I think. I just can't.
But it was, and then
so
instead of just saying we made a mistake, which is what they should have done.
No.
Because it looked so bad.
Yeah.
They said, what was their response? They said that it was from a concert that both Patti LaBelle and Aretha were together, and that when they made the graphic, it covered Aretha's face.
Yeah.
And then wait.
I
went to the video of that performance because I'm like, wait a minute, it doesn't add up. So I went to the video.
Clearly.
Aretha was in the audience at the time, so she wasn't even anywhere near the stage. So I called back Fox and I go, hey, how did she cover if she wasn't even anywhere near? And then she said, oh, we never said she was in the same picture.
Oh my God!
Oh my goodness!
It literally had her picture with like Aretha Franklin with the dates, it was. Oh
Dear Fox News, not all black singers look alike.
Yeah, and Gayle King even quipped about that. Like, we don't all look alike. I think she said that on Colbert's show. Yeah.
By the way, Gayle King, we should say,
she's on fire.
She's on fire.
Having the best month of her life.
We had it last week. We talked about she's on fire.
And she's up. Her contract is up.
Yeah.
So
good timing.
More money.
So there was an interesting conversation brewing about the whole Judge Jeanine about. So it's important to say that Judge Jeanine's show is not a news show. It is an opinion show, right? So do you think though? when you're taking free speech.
You mean propaganda?
Exactly.
You said it. You said it, not me. But yeah. So do you think there's a line that even with an opinion show, there is a line, and this was the appropriate line that they did stop and punish at? Like, do you agree that you can't just, it's my opinion, I can say anything?
Yeah.
There is lines that are...
The thing is, you can say what you want, but there are repercussions to your words.
Yeah.
So, sponsors are bowing out of Fox over Jeanine's show and all these resurfaced Tucker Carlson comments, and Fox is losing money.
I feel like Megyn Kelly's looking real appealing right about now at Fox. They got a couple slots they could fill.
They're losing money on these shows, but I have to tell you, they're making $2.6 billion, I think, is how much they made last year.
Well, according to Trump, who was throwing a tantrum on Twitter about Judge Jeanine, it's like her favorite. And by the way, I should say Judge Jeanine, the last time we did a story on her was like it's still like our second highest Meet the Hollywood Press clip.
She went on The View.
She's at least good. I mean, it courts a lot of comments in there. Right. But so basically he was saying that, your competitors are jealous. Brian Stelter made a good point on CNN this morning and said, because someone said they want Fox News off the air. He says, we don't want Fox News off the air. We just want misinformation to stop flowing from you. Like, it's true. It's like, I think they have, you have Shepard Smith, who is reputable, and you can watch him. It's just, I don't mind. Look, we're doing this. This isn't an opinion-based show around news, but it's around factual news.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not basing our opinion on something that's like not factual. So it's like, we can give an educated opinion on something factual. That's all I would want from them.
Right.
This isn't just not about not being factual. There's that whole story from one of the reporters from Fox News had the Stormy Daniels story before the Wall Street Journal and didn't. And they buried it. So now you're not acting as a news organization anymore, but you still want the freedoms and the liberties that come with free speech and freedom of the press, right?
Yeah. So final thoughts on Judge Jeanine. Will she be back next week? Do we want her back? What?
I think she'll be back.
Yeah.
Of course she'll be back.
I mean, here's the thing. So, I think you guys know I freelance for one of the trades. And I wrote the Judge Jeanine story yesterday, and I got a comment from Fox which basically said nothing.
We're not commenting on turtle scheduling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
However, the story generated about 2,000 comments, and the majority of them were bring Judge Jeanine back. So she has a loyal following.
No, I've seen it all over Twitter. It's all saying how she was saying the truth. You should how can you do this? She can say what. Big supporters out there for. Well, I mean, there's a reason that
Trump.
Yeah.
He was so mad because Saturday night he didn't have something to watch while he ate his McDonald's. I mean, he was really upset.
He really was, and he slammed Shepard Smith and Arthel Neville.
Oh my God.
Everybody.
He's like, get these other people off Fox and bring Judge Jeanine back.
All right, so we're running out of time, but just really quickly, I want to ask one question. So we had this horrifying terror attack in New Zealand this week. 49, I think it rose to 50, the death toll. And by the way, I have New Zealand envy right now because their prime minister couldn't be more. What an inspiring leader, which she's come out and said and everything, and now they're already trying to change their gun laws. I want to just ask this question. The video being streamed live, do you think big tech companies are doing enough to prevent this? Like, why is this still happening? Absolutely not. We keep seeing this time and time again. There was a man who murdered his girlfriend on Facebook Live, and then we had this individual broadcasting or streaming what he did. I'm just going to go out there and say, why does the average person need the ability to go live on social media? I almost feel like they should restrict it to media brands and companies. Yeah. But there are a lot of people out there who are very sick, and they're doing sick things and streaming it live. Right. Yeah. Well, when those two journalists were gunned down, the local journalist and the guy did the shooting, went back to, and then he had the body cam video that he then uploaded after because they still hadn't caught him at that point. They want people to see this. So, Itai, what's your thought on that? Do you think they're...
I think it's a slippery slope once you start restricting freedom of speech. It gets into a lot of sort of, like, how do you decide who gets to do the streaming, who doesn't? I mean, I think the problem is not the streaming. I think the problem is gun control and education. Yeah. But it doesn't even have to be a gun. It could be a knife. You could strangle someone. Why does the average person need the ability to be able to go live?
Right. And as long as they keep you know, the average person has this ability, it's like they're never going to get in front of the problem.
Yeah.
They're always going to be behind, because no matter how many algorithms you have or how many people you have watching it, you're not going to be able to catch every single one.
Exactly. It took forever to get them to take the videos down.
Right.
Yeah, but you could today. You could just, like you said, you can record it, upload it later. I mean, who knows?
That's true.
You can't stop it from happening.
So LA Times had an interesting op-ed that took the opposite stance and said why we shouldn't take it down, because they feel people need to see this horrific hatred, and because maybe this will change something. What's your thoughts on
Disagree
that?
200%. Littleton didn't change anything when a gunman went in and gunned down little children.
Exactly.
Nothing's going to change, but what it will do is inspire other freaks to go out and kill other people and broadcast it live.
Exactly.
I agree, and I think news organizations are right not to report the names, not to repeat them afterwards. I mean, it's okay to say it once so people know who it is, but you know, a lot of news organizations now are choosing not to name them afterwards because they know that this
They don't
is
want to
exactly
glorify
what they're
them,
looking for.
and we shouldn't. Okay, any final thoughts from any of you?
No.
This has been a quickie. This was very quick. Lots to talk about. I could have gone another hour. Anita, thank you for returning to the show. Itai, thank you for returning to the
Always
show.
a pleasure.
Alina, I'll say it'll be till you're later. You'll
Till
be in
next
this.
time. Exactly.
And good luck, and we love you. Thank you so much for
Thank
for everything this last few months.
Thank you for having me on the show and bringing me into this family. I've loved this show, and I love our comments and the viewers and everything.
You're a tough act to follow.
Oh,
thank you. I couldn't from the bottom of my heart. Can you just tell everyone one last time where they can find us?
Absolutely. So you guys can watch us on the AfterBuzz YouTube page. You can also subscribe to MTHP on Apple Podcasts. You know, rate us, give us those likes and reviews. You can follow us on the Facebook and Instagram at Meet the Hollywood Press, and on Twitter at Meet the HWD Press.
Thank you for watching, and if you're out there partying for St. Patrick's Day, take an Uber. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.